The Genie service is now a part of our life, whether we like it or not, at the Disneyland Resort. World of Color, Fantasmic, and the Main Street Electrical Parade all coming back to us. It's a Small World has reopened, and a new show moving into the Fantasyland Theater. Let's drop in. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, my friends. Wait for the Kingdom Report, hanging out with you once again, covering all the latest headlines, news, updates, and trending topics coming out of the happiest place on earth. Covering both theme parks, all three hotels, and the downtown Disney district for you here today. Mickey and his friends doing a little impromptu holiday cavalcade down Main Street, USA. Starting first with the Genie service now being in our life at Disneyland and California Adventure, having officially launched last week to disastrous results. Much better now, though. Lightning Lane replaces the former Fast Pass system, essentially $20 per person per day, gets you Lightning Lane access to all of the Fast Pass attractions, with the exception of Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland, as well as Radiator Springs Racers and the Spider-Man Web Slinger attraction over at California Adventure. Those are both separate priced Lightning Lane options that you can add on if you'd like. And yes, this has increased standby wait times at all major attractions. From there, we move on over to Mickey's Toontown, where a major renovation is about to get underway and will close down the land for the majority of 2022. But before we get there, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin has recently installed its new change, and that is Jessica Rabbit. Not only is she looking a little different, as you can see here in the Q silhouette, wearing her new detective attire, but the storyline itself of Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin has been changed, even with this newspaper in the queue trying to inform you as to exactly what's going on. Jessica Rabbit is no longer a starlet. Instead, she's a detective trying to solve a murder, with a much more active role in the ride than before. You can see her in both the beginning and towards the end of the ride with her new look. Outside we go, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway attraction continues its construction in the center of the land. We take a look on over the walls, and you can see that a lot of work still going on with that major entranceway, and a lot of foundation work has already been poured for the sake of getting this attraction up and ready for its 2023 debut. Directly in front of Toontown, right outside in Fantasyland, where walls have been up for months that we've been tracking for you, walls have finally come down, and now we see what has been behind it. In fact, a whole new walkway made of brick and a new ramp constructed for the sake of disabilities, leading down into Toontown itself. Looking good. And across the way for the Fantasyland Theater, big news coming to this venue, as work is already underway, getting prepped for Celebrate Gospel, that will be arriving to the stage, replacing Mickey and the Magical Map in February, followed by a spring debut of Tale of the Lion King, soon to be in this location and bringing lots of lively music and pageantry for the first time in forever. And directly in front of the theater itself, Troubadour Tavern will likely be returning right alongside the shows. And after dozens of teams came together to work 24/7 for weeks at a time just to get It's a Small World holiday back up and running after a major incident fried its circuits and completely took it offline just before its holiday debut, It's a Small World holiday is back for all of us to enjoy. Congratulations to the facilities team for making this miracle happen. Elsewhere in Fantasyland, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where they turn your little pumpkin into a princess, or more specifically, where they do princess makeovers, has not been doing the makeovers since Disneyland reopened, but now that younger and younger age groups are being administered vaccines, there is a real possibility, we're told, that makeovers could resume in early 2022. Trotting on out to New Orleans Square now, Disney has confirmed that Fantasmic is returning in spring of 2022. We've been watching them over the last few months work on all of the staging, piping, and projections, and now we can't wait for this nighttime spectacular to return to the rivers of America. And since the Harbor Galley has returned from its brief refurbishment, it brought along with it a much greater gift, and that is the new two-tiered seating area right along the riverfront called Pelican's Landing. This new mega seating area is much needed and allows for anybody grabbing themselves some bread bowls and clam chowder to take a load off right in front of the rivers of America. A beautiful place and a much needed location that is a wonderful addition to the area. Deeper into New Orleans Square we go, and still no word on the Princess and the Frog related store that is supposedly coming to this location alongside the Club 33 as well as the Blue Bayou. When will Disney finally spill the beans? Speaking of Princess and the Frog, Splash Mountain over here in Critter Country will one day get its overhaul to be rethemed completely to the film franchise. However, that day is not anytime soon, as the next set refurbishment for January the 10th has nothing to do with the frogs. And we move further back into Critter Country, where Winnie the Pooh and the 100 Acre Gang area that was dedicated to meeting those characters has been transformed into the spot where you can meet Santa Claus himself, and he was out meeting and greeting during this time. It was wonderful to see the Jolly Red Man himself. From Critter Country, we jump on over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where yes, 145 minutes was the wait time for standby for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, the biggest attraction in Disneyland right now, that recently dropped the virtual queue and allowed people the option to go complete standby if they wanted to, or purchase the separate Lightning Lane option, which on any given day, due to dynamic pricing, could be anywhere from $7 to $20 to access the attraction. It's all something you have to pay attention to on the app. And yes, lots of tape laid down for the sake of extended standby queues, stretching all the way back to Critter Country. And speaking of big crowds, while restrictions may be in place for the sake of reservations and capacity may not get as crazy as we've seen it in recent years during the Christmas and New Year's week, it is still important to remember that crowds can be very intense and indoor face coverings are still required at both theme parks and on transportation. And make note that the state of California just issued mandatory indoor face coverings for all starting December 15th running through January 15th. We stop off in Tomorrowland now, where the Finding Nemo submarine voyage is set to return to us in January 2022 after its long refurbishment, and once again, we'll be going under the sea with Nemo and friends. Elsewhere in Tomorrowland, it's important to note that the Magic Eye Theater, once housing Captain EO and all of the Star Wars Path of the Jedi videos, still remains completely shuttered, a very big venue that would definitely soak up a lot of those holiday crowds if it were open. From Tomorrowland to Adventureland we go, where I'm kind of at a loss here as Tarzan's Treehouse has three deadlines that it's missed since it was supposed to return to us, now with a to-be-determined date listed. Hopefully everything gets figured out in the very near future. And up on Main Street, USA, sources from within Disneyland are sharing with us that there's a very real potential that come late winter and early spring, guided tours with guest relations may return, so you can enjoy things like a walk in Walt's footsteps once again. We head on over to California Adventure for some holiday cheer. That song will be with you the rest of the day, won't it? Here in Hollywoodland, Mickey's PhilharMagic has returned to the Sunset Showcase Theater after an extended preview of Eternals. At Walt Disney World, they just debuted the Mickey's PhilharMagic featuring the Coco scene, and it is booking out daily to record crowds. However, those record crowds aren't showing up to this version of Mickey's PhilharMagic. Definitely something you need to put on your list. Right outside the back door at Stage 17, the Backlot Premiere Shop, which is essentially this giant location dedicated to all things Avengers merchandise, well, it has a new sign above its door trying to get more people to come on in. And around the corner we go to the Hyperion Theater, which used to house Frozen live at the Hyperion. Orange County Register is reporting that if a show does return to this location, it likely won't be Frozen, and it did get missed during the Destination D23 announcements of all the entertainment returning to the Disneyland Resort. We hope it gets a replacement very soon. Inside Avengers Campus we go, where the Eternals are still meeting in the Ancient Sanctum, so there is still time to meet the Eternals if you haven't had an opportunity to do so yet. And across the way at the Spider-Man Webslinger attraction, they also have dropped the virtual queue and gone standby on this day, handling it quite well with a 55-minute wait. And of course, you can buy that special Lightning Lane access if you want to. Again, dynamic pricing between $7 and $20 on any given day. You do that through the Genie service on the app. Let's take, for example, if you wanted to ride Webslingers over in Avengers Campus, or here in Cars Land, you wanted to jump on Radiator Springs Racers. On this particular day, Lightning Lane access would run you $12 per guest. If you wanted to do both rides, it would cost you $24 in total. However, let's not forget also that many major attractions still have single rider as an option. You've never done single rider before? It allows you to skate past the majority of the standby wait, and they fill you in wherever there's a vacancy. We head on out to Pixar Pier, where do you see what I see? Yes, finally water back in Paradise Bay, and all the way up to the platform for World of Color. We've been covering for you in the last few months just how unsightly and terrible looking this has all been for the sake of all the work they've had to do to resurrect the World of Color show, leaving it out to essentially rot during the pandemic break. And now here they are, techs even on this day going through, monitoring, testing every little nook and cranny for the sake of this show coming back to us in spring 2022. Along Pixar Pier, we see at the promenade, Woody and Bo Peep out meeting and greeting their guests. So great to see them. And as a reminder, the Festival of Holidays continues across California Adventure with the 8 dedicated food booths for the festival, as well as exclusive merchandise and wonderful, lively entertainment. On top of that, if you are interested in grabbing yourself a slice of pizza or two, well, unfortunately, you are going to be out of luck, as over at the Paradise Gardens area, right alongside the Paradise Garden Grill that has a completely changed out menu every time there's a new season, the Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta location that we've been documenting for you for months has remained closed this entire time, and perhaps we will see it return to us at some point in 2022. And if you're somebody who needs to check whether or not you've made it onto the naughty or nice list for 2021, completely understand, head on over to the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail here inside California Adventure, where you can check in with the Jolly Elf himself. That's right, Santa meets right back here. Outside the parks, we want to remind you that coming very soon, early 2022 is what Disney is saying, will be the return of the parking tram service to the Mickey and Friends parking garage, as well as Pixar Pals parking structure. No longer will you have to walk this ridiculous route back to the parking garage. Instead, tram service will officially be back in action, already having begun at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and will return to the theme parks out east in the coming year. And back to Santa for a second. If you want to meet him at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, you can do so. He's located just beyond the lobby, so directly across from the fireplace, beyond the tree, and off to the right-hand side of the lobby is the place where you can find him. However, on this particular day, he wasn't there because he was across the street at Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, where you could meet him inside next to their giant lobby tree. And keep in mind, when you meet Santa inside, you do need to be wearing face coverings. However, when you meet Santa at an outside location, you don't have to wear the face covering, you're just kept a couple feet away from Santa. However, indoors, you get to walk right up. Kind of like you get to walk right up to him when he's at this elaborate set here at the Disneyland Hotel, by far my favorite of all the Santa meet and greet locations. And further down the hall at the Disneyland Hotel, we take a look at Steakhouse 55, which we heard earlier this year will not be returning in any capacity. It'll be completely reimagined. Still no work. The sign is still out there. The seating is still out there, and the podium is still up front. We'll keep our eye on it for you. And the DVC, the Disney Vacation Club Tower, that is coming to the Disneyland Hotel in the near future. Construction work going on right now. There is so much work happening, they finally pushed the construction walls all the way out to the very front steps of the Frontier Tower. Can't wait to see all the progress that will be made going into the new year as this DVC tower rises up. And along the theme of construction, Earl of Sandwich, as well as the old AMC Theater, the old ESPN building, everything here on the west end of downtown Disney will soon be demolished as Destination D23 announced that the entire west end of the downtown Disney district will be completely overhauled starting in January of 2022, just a couple of weeks away before downtown Disney gets a major facelift. Further into downtown Disney we go, and Pele Soccer has officially opened its doors. It is a soft opening though, therefore those doors could close every once in a while. However, you can now grab your soccer gear inside of downtown Disney. And right next door to Pele Soccer, still in the works, is Love Pop. Think of it as pop-up cards, Hallmark style. This is still on its way to us here in the district. Well, my friends, that about does it for us, and now you are up to date. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that notification bell turned on so you never miss an update. And if you like what we've done here, hit that thumbs up button. It means an awful lot. For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath. We'll see you next time for another edition of the Disneyland Drop-In.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.